Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for this segment, we have Juergen Lindner, Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer of Global Marketing SaaS at Oracle. Oracle has partnered with Pamela Rucker, Chief Investment Officer Advisor and Instructor for Harvard Professional Development and Savanta Research to survey more than 11,000 people. This includes consumers and business leaders across 15 global markets for the 2022 ESG Global Study titled No Planet B, How Can Businesses and Technology Help Save the World? And Juergen, it sounds like an interesting title. It sounds like there's a lot of issues that need to be solved. What was the methodology behind the study?
As you said, I mean, it's the second study that we did along those type of themes. So it's really, we partnered up with Savanta Research and with Pamela to really understand profoundly as to what are sentiment changes that have taken place over the last 2 years. As you also mentioned, we tried to have a representative set of consumers and business leaders in the study to really get a good feeling, also in 15 countries of the world, what is the attitudes and the behavioral change of consumers and business leaders towards sustainability at large, and also social efforts with the role and expectation that also then technology and artificial intelligence and robots can have in ESG efforts at large.
What was top of mind for respondents?
So there were, I think you can categorize it into 3 or 4 main buckets where it's really people desperately want businesses to step up for sustainability and social efforts. We're clearly beyond the committal, declarative type of notions and social initiatives. So there's a very tight correlation between corporate success and how consumers as well as talent is thinking about whom they want to be associated with, and they vote with their feet if they don't see decisiveness.
Are businesses making enough progress?
If you ask consumers, 78% of individuals that we queried, we really said they're frustrated and honestly fed up with the lack of progress of businesses that they're making. And we see it oftentimes as almost like a coming out of the pandemic. Over the past 2 years, individuals had a lot of time to think about what they want to do. How do they value? So a new value system has really emerged. They have different priorities. This can be done by, okay, what do I want to be remembered for? My life is maybe finite. What brands do I want to be associated with? What employment choices do I do? So, however, also, since we queried business leaders, we found that 92% of them think that if they are not decisively invested into ESG, their corporate Darwinism curve might look very different. So 91% of them said that oftentimes, however, they're hindered by major obstacles like implementing those type of initiatives by either having lack of the right metrics, lack of the data to do so, or it's oftentimes a lot of human bias that goes into it, preventing them from making progress. So 96% said that human bias and emotions distract them from the end goal. And this is, I think, where we found it extremely interesting to see how can technology really help bypass this type of things as well. So in AI specifically, we asked provocatively, can bots do better? And the surprisingly high number said yes.
Interesting. I was going to ask you, can bots succeed where humans have failed? It sounds as if it's going to take a combination of the two, not make it exclusively one or the other. Did the survey reflect that?
Absolutely. I do think while we were also surprised that 61% are endorsing robots, and can be an algorithm, it can be AI, to really make better choices than humans, because I mean, you're not biased. You are much more effective to plow through certain data sets without errors and emotions and predicting future outcomes. That said, we strongly see a correlation that this is not human versus machine. It's typically the augmentation of the human potential to make better decisions. And people are essentials because I mean, they have much more emotional capital to basically then implement the feedback or the decision and making contextual information based on the AI-based decisions.
It was interesting when I was going through the results of the survey, I got that there was a sense of urgency to take immediate action. And you had mentioned that people are willing to cut ties with brands. So businesses and brands are going to have to get on board and start to make structural change, not just you tick off the boxes, but be able to quantify it and show that they're listening to what consumers are saying.
You're spot on, Jill. I do think we're beyond the, okay, I have an ESG declaration type of page. I have declared my goal. We're in the stage where decisive outcomes need to be demonstrated. And people, based on their value system, want to leave the world in a better place for future generations. But 70%, so it's a very high number of individuals, would be willing to cancel their relationship with the brand immediately if they don't see that ESG topics are taken seriously. And 69% would even leave their current employer at this point in time to really say, I want to be associated with a brand that stands for the right values. So it's very clear that there is a correlation how consumers are willing to pay a premium for products and services. At the same point in time, since this is Nasdaq, right? I mean, investing is obviously also extremely critical here. If you cannot demonstrate to the market how decisively you are invested, that you're following through, 83% would say, okay, I might not be investing into your stock going forward, or even seek employment with your corporation. So there's really no time to waste. And it's not a vanity metric anymore. It's about serious business implications if you do not act decisively.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of value in this survey. So you're going to tell the viewers where they can go to learn more.
We made it very simple. So it's www.oracle.com and then /no-planet-B in one word. So that is where you can find all of the findings. And I hope it provokes the right conversation.
I hope so too, Juergen. Appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks for having me.